Greetings to the students in PMIN897, the D.Min project design experience. I wanted to stop by this evening and welcome you. Here we are at the official beginning of the spring semester 2023. So week one literally begins on the 9th day of January. So this is kind of an intensive experience, although in my personal experience, it's easy to accomplish all of our goals in one semester. So that certainly is my goal for each one of you. And so I'm going to keep up with you. I'm going to communicate often. I will send you a weekly video announcement that will contain everything you need to know, kind of summarize where we are, where we're going, and unpack that particular week. So here we are in module 1. This is a kind of an introductory 2-week module. And so in terms of week one is totally focused on the statement of the problem question. And that's really, it's kind of the research question. It's the bullseye you're aiming at in your research. So stating it clearly is absolutely essential. And so for us to take a bit of time to review the details of that, and for you to feel comfortable that you have that well in hand, I have to be honest with you and say that really once you've established clearly in your mind your statement of the problem question, it's best then to not fool with it after that. That is your goal. That sets the stage for everything else that you are going to do. And so that's our focus very, very importantly in week one. When we get to week 2, and of course I'll communicate with you at the beginning of week 2, but in week 2 there will be an annotated bibliography and a sample academic paper coming up just for my benefit, hopefully for your benefit as well. By the way, in week 1 there is a peer review opportunity, which means that there is a peer review template available in the week 1 discussion in your group. And so one of the things I love about the peer review template is that it has the most complete explanation of the statement of the problem question. So I think it is valuable for that reason alone. In module 1, there are several very important resources. The first 2 chapters in Turabian's excellent book. You know, Turabian has our formatting guidelines, but the first half of Turabian has some very, very good chapters on academic research and writing. Cresswell and Sensing are our specific project design and methodology textbooks, and they will add tremendous value to your ability to go forward and feel like you're prepared to dive into your ministry project and your dissertation in 899. And of course, there's a series of presentations and documents. There are a variety of things that we've made available to you. One of them has to do with what is now PMIN 700 to make sure that you once again have access to those introductory presentations from Dr. Flynn, who is the director of our D.Min program. So statement of the problem, and I'm going to say a lot more about this in our consultation, our Zoom consultation, but what is that really all about? First of all, the statement of the problem question is the focus of your research. So when you create a research question, then everything you do after that attempts to answer that question in a variety of ways. So the goal of the statement of the problem is to generate unique knowledge on an applied topic in ministry in order to solve a problem. So, you know, the difference between a Doctor of Ministry program and a PhD program is that a PhD is going to test theory, and it's probably even going to test a very specific hypothesis within a theory. The Doctor of Ministry program is a practical research, applied research program. So we're very interested in a specific research context, what you feel is a problem per se that needs to be addressed, and then you're going to propose an intervention. You're going to propose a solution, a contribution at least to a solution when it comes to that problem. So the statement of the problem then becomes the focus of your research. The research will be significantly connected to what is in your proposal, the lit summary, And the BTH foundations is what we call it in your proposal, which will expand out into chapters 2 and 3 in your dissertation. And so these form the background, the basis of the warrant of your ministry project. So the research question guides you in what you ought to be looking for in your research. Of course, you've already been working, most of you started, depending on your experience in PMIN897, most of you have already started down that road. And so this is not going to be a new idea for you by any means. But I think it's good for us to kind of review the process as we go forward in this 897 experience. The statement of the problem defines the disciplined conduct of your ministry project that is designed to propose an intervention and then to test it. And so it's serious research, and it is the kind of research that not only will benefit you in your situation, but has the potential then to be used for the benefit of many other people in other situations based on the extent of your research and the proven testing that you did of your idea of your proposed intervention. Let me say something about the groups. Almost all the work you're going to do in 897 will be done in a group. So you want to find yourself in either group 1 or group 2. And you will use the group discussion board week by week. There are, a couple of different things that are going to happen in the group. One will be that at key points, there will be a peer review opportunity. There will also be other relevant discussion forums there. And so you definitely want to keep up with what's going on in your group. All of those are graded assignments. And so it's very important, even though 897 is a pass, no pass class, it's a matter of either you complete it or you don't. Still, nevertheless, to be able to follow the structure of the class will be very important. It's really designed to guarantee your success in this process. And so in week 1 is a peer review opportunity. So again, the subject is the statement of the problem, research question. There is a peer review template. But basically, you're going to give us a sense. You're going to report on your statement of the problem. You're going to provide that in for your group. You're going to explain how you think it's going to relate, and no doubt will relate to your chosen research context. And then use the peer review rubric or template to then look at one other member of your group and kind of give them a sense, give them feedback, which I think will be very, very valuable to them. Now, in all of these peer review opportunities, I will also give you specific feedback because they're vitally important. So I'm not going to edit what you do, but I'm going to say, I think if you could be a little more focused or specific when it comes to this area, I think it's going to help you. One of the problems that I see occasionally with the D.Min student is they choose a project or a research area or question that's just too broad. It would take more research than what is necessary to accomplish the goal. And occasionally I might say, if you could focus this a little bit more, I think it's going to be very, very helpful for you going forward. So whenever we have a peer review opportunity, I will jump in and participate very specifically in that process. 897 is really designed ultimately to prepare you for 899, which is the dissertation phase of your doctoral program. And we are going to prepare you in some very, very important ways. If you can do the work and make sure that you see that all of this is important going forward. It's not like this is a standalone, class and you're just having to do the work in order to get a good grade. It's not like that. This is designed to prepare you as thoroughly as possible for your dissertation phase. And so we're going to prepare you very specifically in the proposal process, step by step. We'll work on it together, using the template ultimately for the dissertation proposal. We're going to prepare you at the end for the HSR process, the Human Subject Review process, which is one of the very first things you will do in 899. So the more we can do to prepare you for that, the better. And it's also kind of a final opportunity to make sure you have mastered the needed formatting skills. Now, I know you will find it hard to believe, but occasionally we'll have someone in 897 that they have not done so. And so I will point out and say, you know what, unless you finally get a handle on Turabian, writing your dissertation is going to be horrible, because your chair's just going to keep sending it back to you and keep sending you back to, you still are not, it's not formatted consistently with Turabian 9th edition in mind. I'm going to be a little more specific than that in 897, because I have this desire to see you as prepared as you can be. And so those formatting skills, sometimes, because most of you have done already very good work in researching background, you're probably pretty good writers, frankly. And oftentimes, I hate to tell you, it's these formatting skills that will kill you, because by the time it gets to your chair and then ultimately to Dr. Flynn, they're looking for perfection when it comes to these formatting skills. So I've made a lot of resources available, and will do everything I can to say, by the way, so it's still Turabian 9th. It's Microsoft Word settings and formatting. Unfortunately, Microsoft Word, all the default settings are wrong. They don't work for putting together a dissertation. And so it's necessary to say, okay, you need to go into Microsoft Word and set it up, and then be sure you're using all those features to do your work. If you can review that, and I'll give you all the resources you need, if you can review that in this class, then it's going to make your work in 899 a lot easier. Also, the use of Grammarly, there's no question that your chair, when you begin to submit some documents, will turn on Grammarly, will call in your document on their computer, turn on Grammarly, and see whether or not you used it. So it's absolutely essential for you to master Grammarly. I'm still surprised to find occasionally an 897 students who is not yet clear as to Grammarly, how to load it, because it's a free, the premium version is free for you, how to get it loaded up, how to use it, et cetera, et cetera. So I've given you resources for all of those. I think you will thank me down the road. In terms of everything that's available for you in the course resources section of Blackboard, there's some key documents. The D.Min handbook is still the Bible. It's the Bible I go back to. So if you have a question, and I'm not entirely sure on the answer when it comes to the structure of a D.Min process, I go to the handbook. So there is a copy of the handbook. Dissertation guidelines are there. The student profile template, which will be an assignment coming later in the semester, is there. And then I've just loaded several folders with resources that will be available to you and helpful to you. There's a Writing Center folder, the Turabian Resources folder, the MS Word tutorials, a variety of things that will help you get set up properly. There's Grammarly resources in a folder. And then, of course, the HSR resources in another folder. Proposal resources, including a template, both an annotated and a blank template. And then research methods resources that really come from a class that's no longer in the curriculum. It was PMIN897 specifically on research methodology. And it was kind of heavy. I think it was kind of heavy for a lot of students, but still there are excellent resources when it comes to that. And it's absolutely essential for you to have a clear sense of what's going to be best for you, given the project design that you're going to end up. By the way, project design, as you described for us in 897, is not the last word. It's really the HSR application process that finalizes the details of project design. So I'm moving you in that direction. But having done so, having completed a proposal is just the beginning. It just opens the door into 899. And that's then when all the real work starts. I'm going to have several Zoom consultations. I call them that because we're not using Collaborate anymore. In fact, Regent University is in the process of bailing out of Blackboard, frankly. And so I just started using Zoom, which I'm using to make this particular announcement. And so I will use Zoom. I will always send you, of course, the proper email invitation with a link, etc. And so the first one is Monday coming right up, January the 9th, 8 p.m. Eastern time. So you have to kind of convert that wherever you are. If you're somewhere in Central time, of course, I'm here in the Portland, Oregon area, so I'm on the West Coast. It'll be 5 o'clock for me, but for most of our students are on the East Coast, and 8 o'clock tends to work very well for them. In this first session, we'll just take some time to get acquainted, and I want to overview, of course, everything that we're doing and how we're going to do it in 897, and then take some time to unpack the details of the statement of the problem question assignment. I want to give you a couple of examples and unpack those for you, and hopefully it will make sense for you. It'll help you. And if we have time, we can take a look at a couple of your proposed research questions as you have developed them so far and have an opportunity to discuss. I don't like to take more than an hour, frankly, because, I want to respect the fact that you all have busy lives, and some Q&A opportunity as well on Monday evening. So getting the research question is so obviously important. Everything really depends on it. So if we can take the time that's needed to just kind of perfect your research, as we call it, the statement of the problem research question, then it's going to make everything else more focused and ultimately clearer for you. So that's what our focus will be in this very first week. So God bless you, everybody. I'll see you Monday evening.